Hopefully this works. If not, whatever.
Good evening, everyone. Sunday evening. We are the BasketBros with Dom. With Dom and Will, and I am Jacob Christner. We don't have Jay tonight because, well, WrestleMania is more important. and I can't say I blame him, except I won't get Peacock. Anyway, one of the biggest
Cool.
things
I'm a
that we've been
part-time
looking
wrestling
at.
mark. Everyone needs a night off here and there.
Oh, I know. We've all kind of taken
every
our
now and
nights
then.
off. We've taken our nights off. I mean, so he's the last one, you know? How you doing tonight, Will?
Yep.
I'm doing good. My Tar Heels are coming off a big win, and my Yukon Huskies play in a few minutes against South Carolina, so go Huskies.
Well, that was a fun game last night for me because I remember growing up, my dad and I, we didn't not having cable in the house. We used to, you'd have every other Saturday, you have Duke or Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Didn't play each other too often on there unless it was a road game, for Duke. I'd see it once in a while, but we had that, so it was kind of fun to watch them for one more time. So, with Krzyzewski at least. So it was pretty cool. What did you think of the game, Dom?
Yes, exactly.
Dom.
Is he frozen?
We got ourselves a freeze. His BlackBerry's going down, I guess. Well, one of the things I'm going to, by the way, one of the deals I've got right now is I have a new thing. One of the things right now, while we're waiting for Dom, is I got a couple scores we're going to bring up at this point in time. Philadelphia up 87-83 in the fourth quarter.
Dom, you there?
We are. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Dom, are you on one of those BlackBerries from like 2005?
Yes, the first phones with internet. No, I'm on my laptop. Funny guy.
Yeah.
We were wondering what you thought.
Well, I was segging in.
I didn't hear what you said.
Scores. Well, we're definitely in the years ahead when we do this. We're gonna have a lot of laughs over the amount of confusion there is.
Segue. What was he?
We were wondering what you thought of the
segueing into what's the question. I'll do my best to provide.
No, we were wondering what you thought.
What did you think of Duke of Carolina last night?
I think that it was a fix. If I didn't know any better, I would have swore that Chris Herron from the 1990s, look that name up, Will. I would have swore that he was on the court. That's why I didn't bet on the game. What did the final score end up being?
Duke
won by
80. Carolina won by like 4.
No, I'm sorry. UNC won, obviously, and Duke was favored by 4. That's why I didn't bet on that game. Although apparently I should have because Duke was favored by 4. It just seemed like the refs were doing everything that they could to keep Duke in that game, much like the refs did everything they could.
Well, one of the biggest things that I've looked at with it itself is the fact that Krzyzewski is now gone, and I can't believe it. It's like we all in our lifetime have seen Coach K. And we'll wait for Dom to get back, see if he can get himself a new phone. But
there I am.
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
I don't know what's going on with my internet. I'm about to go. Usually the phone is a backup plan, but the laptop's kind of irritating me today. But continue.
No, it's amazing that Krzyzewski, we don't have him anymore. And every single one of us lived our lifetimes with him. Every one of us, whether the older ones like me, we are a little older, Dom. Our producer Jen, Will, you have, every single one of us has lived with Coach K, and it's like,
I was going to say he's been the coach there since God was a child. We pretty much all grew up with Coach K, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things. Well, you try your best, One of the biggest things that we can see with I would say here's one thing we can ask right now. I know we're not all Duke fans. I like Duke and Carolina both. But what do you think is your greatest memory of Coach K?
I'm a UNC fan. I'm trying to think. What was my favorite memory of Coach K? I don't have one. I just like what he did. Like, he was a great coach.
Answer's no. I'm not sorry to see Coach K go whatsoever. Good rip.
You know what I'm going to miss?
Get out.
I'll tell you this. You know where I'm going to miss big time?
I hate basketball.
No, I understand. But it's like I said, you know what I'm going to miss, though? Oh, good. No. No. The thing I'm going to miss the most with Coach K, I think, is just the fact that you're not going to see Ford. I mean, we got Mark Few like about 20 and 25 years in Gonzaga. But other than that, you're not going to see that kind of longevity anymore.
Exactly.
Within coaches.
Like I said, as a UNC fan, like, sure, he beat us a lot. He had a lot of great wins against us. And he was also a great coach for USA basketball.
Yeah. 50 wins and 50 losses.
Yeah, crazy.
50 wins and 50 losses ended his career like that, and it's like
crazy.
Isn't it kind of appropriate that being
it
50
is.
and 50?
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of appropriate the way. See, there was a question that I saw tonight on there. What is the greatest rivalry ever? Like Duke, Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, blah, 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 the Bears and Packers. And I was like, the Bears and Packers cease to be a rivalry until the Bears win one more than once every 5 years. That's over.
Exactly, right?
But Duke and Carolina, I remember when Duke was at its absolute worst in 95. They were at their absolute worst in 95. I remember that. The Coach K went out for a bad back. Horrible one. And somebody else had to take over. And, the biggest issue was the fact that he did all of that. And, the Duke was awful, and they still almost won. They went to 2 overtimes.
Yeah, it's insane. The rivalries just speaks for itself. It's crazy. It's just like the best rivalry in sports.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be. And you know something? It's going to be the best forever unless one team decides to dominate it completely.
Exactly. Like if someone wins both games in a year and then they both go to the ACC tournament and that same team wins again, then it'll be kind of weird.
Well, it'd have to be years. It'd have to be really years, like 10, 11 wins. Yeah. No one gets 10, 11 wins in a row on that rivalry. No one wins at home.
Yeah, no, it's like back and forth or someone's 2 up or – yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
Oh, yeah. And no, like I said, I think what I'm going to miss the most is the longevity. Longevity
for sure.
Of any coach, because now coaches are going elsewhere. And to me, coaching is teaching, and I think you need to stick around and build something myself. And he built it at Duke. We're not going to see that anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, I agree. You see coaches coach for a few years, and then they get that hot new job that's on the market and jump on it.
Well, the coaches are starting younger also.
Yes, they are. They're definitely starting younger. Yes, they are, for sure.
Well, the thing about it, they start younger. It's like you think about Sean McVay. I'll go do a football one. Sean McVay, exactly. You think of Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury, you see all those. And, that's in football. That's in football. It's like basketball. They're getting younger. I'll tell you, look at Spoelstra. Even as long as he's been around, look how young he still looks.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. He started off as a video coordinator, and now he's up to head coach.
And what I'll tell you this, it's like, video coordinator, it's amazing how many have done that. Rudy Tomjanovich did that. He's video coordinator for Pat Riley. So just to let you guys know, a little bit of scores for this right now. We have 96-95 the Sixers.
All right, here we go. Fuck, finally.
Hey,
I'm back. Hopefully for the last time this time. I got booted from StreamYard on my computer twice in less than 10 minutes. That's never happened to me in my life.
Well, we talked about Coach K and the legacy. And one of the things I also was talking about real fast is I was just segueing into one big score. 76ers up 96-95, 4:47 left against the Cavaliers. So
that's
I'll tell you
game.
this. That's kind of a big game right now. That's kind of a big one.
Yes, it is.
I'll tell you this, though. I mean, I'll say this. It's like we're getting down to the end of the year. And I'm going to say, let me ask this question. Now that we know that we have play-in games, we had them for the last couple of years. What do you think of them, Will? What do you think of play-in?
I never liked it. I've never liked it. I like if you're a top 8 seed and you make it because you deserved it and you earned it. The play-in game, no offense, in my opinion, is a pity thing. It's like, oh yeah, you're so close. Well, you didn't execute the last few games, so why are we rewarding these 9-10 seeds and saying, oh yeah,
teams with under 500 records.
Exactly. Like, you almost made it. Keyword almost. You don't need it's a pity party.
In years past, I would have given more credence to it, say in the 90s and early 2000s when the West was dominant and you could win 45 games, or you win 50 games and you only end up a 7 seed, but at least you got in. Years ago, before this play-in garbage, which I honestly, and I'm not even gonna lie, like obviously my incense for LeBron James could never be hidden, but is it any surprise that this play-in just kind of materialized out of nowhere when the Lakers were a fringe playoff team? I say no, because without the play-in, I mean, the Lakers aren't going to make it, period, this year, but they're not getting in other than via the play-in. They've been in the playoffs before via the play-in, and I don't think there's any need for it anymore. Oh, this is what I was trying to say. Years ago, what they should have done instead of adding this play-in game nonsense was either make the whole league conference lists and just take the top 16 teams, or take the top 16 records regardless of conference. Like, obviously, if you win your division or you finish second, you're still going to make it in, but I don't need a third place team from a weak division in the playoffs if they're barely 500, if it means another more deserving team is getting left out.
Can I say something to that? I agree.
Absolutely.
100%. I agree. It's like football. For example, if two teams are like 11-5, and then this other team is like 9-7 and they're a wild card, but there's another team who's better than them, for example, 10-6, who is third in their division. I feel like that 10-6 team, I just don't like sub 500 teams making the playoffs. Like, I remember when 8-8 made the
I was going to say, or
playoffs.
500 teams that won their division and got a higher seed than a 10-6 wild card.
Exactly. I'm like, what? It's so stupid.
Well, one of the biggest things I look at is, like, we can say it with the Lakers also and to help LeBron and everything, but I think that every single one of these things is to help. This is one of my beliefs, the little pundit belief of this. You know what I'm saying? I believe this is all to help some of the brand new coaches get acclimated into the league. That they, it's like it. You see, here's the thing: there's a lot of coaches that do not get another chance once they're fired. They are assistants for here on out. You can now say you're in the playoffs, even if it's play-in, that you got to this. It's like, see, remember, this is the thing. Back in '85, like I have said before, George Karl had a 2-19 team for the Cleveland Cavaliers in 1985. Got him to an 8th seed at 32-50. Got them to an 8th seed, and they won one game from the world champion Celtics, a home game for the world. This is probably the greatest, one of the greatest and most absolutely unknown coaching jobs in history.
Bill Laimbeer was on that team, wasn't he?
No, he was not. He was in Detroit at the time, but he was there till about 83 or 4 in Cleveland.
I mean, I didn't. I was a young kid back then. I didn't really know anything about Bill Laimbeer until he came to Detroit.
Yeah, See, the biggest thing, that was the deal, though, is the fact, to me, it's like I really believe that, like, for instance, you had Nate McMillan last year. McMillan didn't need help last year. They got to the conference finals. They didn't need any help there.
Right.
But let's just pretend he didn't for a second. It's like when any coach is looking to get themselves a job in any kind of sport whatsoever, the whole idea is playoffs. And if there's anything, and if you have a couple of years and you didn't make it anywhere, your chances of going assistant coach for the rest of your life are pretty high. So, just
wait, are we talking about the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, right. But just think about this way: your chance of getting assistant for the rest of your life is right up there. So you want to say I went to the playoffs, and guess what? You say that you get fired, you're the next coach of the Orlando Magic.
So is that why Alvin Gentry keeps getting jobs and stealing paychecks? Because he made it to the playoffs way back when, and he's just resting on his laurels?
To me, Alvin Gentry, see, and I've covered the Kings this year. To me, well, I'll tell you this, Alvin Gentry for this team was better than Luke Walton. But if you want a wrong,
way better.
If you want a wrong, what I was wrong on, I can say this right now. I thought Luke Walton would be a star coach. Didn't happen. Did not happen.
I was never really impressed with him as a coach. He was kind of just always struck me as a yes man that didn't necessarily belong in the head coaching ranks. But I feel the same way about Alvin Gentry, and that dude's coached probably 700-800 games,
700-800 years. But
yeah.
No. The thing about Gentry. The thing about him, to me, there's a couple different kind of coaches. Three kind of coaches. There's the ones that kind of waste space. Then there's the ones that are winning coaches. But then there's an in between. I think Alvin Gentry's in this level. I think there's a couple others in the league also.
Alvin Gentry's a space waster.
Not quite. I don't think so. I think you get that a certain age, you're a teacher. You're teaching young people they're not going to win, and you're kind of teaching them a game. And it's like, I think, for the team that he's on, it's perfect. Now, if it's a team, like I think the Orlando Magic would be another one, but you wouldn't want him on a winning team. He's getting older. He has an old school mindset. It's not going to listen. He probably doesn't like the 3-point game. And that's just the whole thing. But I'm just saying he'd probably be good on an Orlando Magic team trying to learn. It's like there are coaches like this. There are coaches like this. Sometimes you just need the winner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not the winner.
Should we segue?
The teacher. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to see if Jen would bring up that thumbnail.
Should we segue to one of our segments?
Oh, yeah. While they're segueing, 2:37 left, 103-98 Sixers.
What do we got first? Player you love to hate?
Something. Let's do this. We're segging right now. The 2000 NBA draft. Let's take a look at some of this.
I'll take the blame for picking that year randomly. This was not a very good draft.
I can't even read the names.
Hey, let's have some fun with this one. Let's have some fun with this one because there's some names.
Kenyon Martin. Okay, I remember Kenyon Martin. Was it fun?
I mean, just looking at those top 10 names.
Oh, the Bulls had to love the Chris Mim pick.
I would say the top best names in the top 10 are Jamal Crawford, and Kenyon Martin, and Mike Miller. And Mike Miller.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the Nets, I'm probably, and it's a redo, I'm probably taking Kenyon Martin again. He had a pretty solid career, played a long time. I think he had didn't he have a knee injury or two when he was young? But, I mean, he played in the league 10, 12 years. Pretty sure he made the All-Star team a couple times. The rest of those guys, Stromwell Swift was pretty much a bust.
Yeah.
Darius Miles was a straight out of high school bust and had substance abuse problems.
Oh, I'm laughing at this one.
Marcus Pfizer, pride of Inkster, Michigan. He was not bad. Mike Miller was a good bench player. Jamar Johnson, career cut short by injury. Chris Mim was a career backup. Jamal Crawford's probably the best player on that whole list. And he's one of the best sixth man ever, but he never found a way. Like, he played long enough and for enough teams. he was never a full-time starter. It's just kind of a weak year. I kind of struck out when I said, okay, let's take 2000. Then I went and looked, and I'm like, oh,
no,
that wasn't a very good year.
I'm going to make some comedy out of this one. The Bulls have 2 top 10 picks in the first round, and they pick Marcus Pfizer and Chris Mim.
Oh, God, Mim was Chicago, too. I think he got traded on draft day.
It doesn't matter. It's like, just this is what you pick. It's like, and this is where I get mad. This is where I get mad at fans, sports fans. I'll say, this is where I get mad at them. Because every single one of them want a tank to go to the draft. It's always their thing. When they don't win enough, let's go tank and go to the draft. Let's waste our coach's year. Let's tank it. I get mad at this because you don't know. We're not in the war room to know. And it's like, now we're laughing at Chris Mim and Marcus Pfizer. But we don't know the situations that happen. It's like, and just think, Jamal Crawford lasted 20 years. And yet there was two, the 4th and the 7th pick, and there's no Jamal Crawford.
Exactly. Scroll down a bit, Jed.
Number 14, that might be the worst pick of the whole first round.
Oh, Mateen Cleaves?
Okay, that's good.
Terrible. and it turns out later on in life, a terrible human being.
Speak of Hito Turkoglu on that list, was a pretty darn good three-pointer shooter. He was
Turkoglu might be the 2nd or 3rd best player in that whole round.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at some of these other names I
Quentin
barely even
Richardson
recognize.
was a role player. Jamal McGlure, I remember him.
He made an all-star. Deshaun Stevenson was not bad.
No, he won a ring. Didn't Deshaun Stevenson win a ring with the Mavericks?
Yes, he did. And Jamal McGlure made one all-star team. You've got some nondescript foreign kids in there.
No, I'll tell you this. It's like, I'll say this part here. I'm taking a look at these. Yeah, we see Mateen Cleaves. We see that, but that lasted 6 years. Take a look at Eric Barkley in number 28. The 2 years. I'm sure Portland loved that one.
Oh, I didn't even realize that first column is years of service.
Are you serious? I didn't know that either. Wow.
Oh, Speedy Claxton.
What kind of team?
Birth name Craig. He was like the backup point guard for Philadelphia when they still had AI.
Oh,
that's Morris Peterson. Morris Peterson.
Yeah. Two of those Flintstones got drafted in the first. Morris Peterson had a way better career than Mateen Cleaves. Mateen Cleaves was he was way undersized, and he couldn't shoot. He was a defensive liability. Why we took him? This is why I absolutely despise homer picks. This is why I don't want the Lions to take Aiden Hutchinson, because I'm afraid he's going to be the next Charles Rogers. Rest in peace, Charles Rogers.
Didn't Morris Peterson have a record with the Raptors, like most points or most 3-pointers in a game or something?
He had a pretty good career. I don't know. He never made an all-star team, but I mean, he was legit. Like I said, much better than Mateen Cleaves.
Oh, yeah. But no, here's one. Mamadou Njai.
Yeah, not even the halfway. Like there's been a few. I'm pretty sure they're all related too, because there was Mamadou, there was Mokhtar Njai that went to Michigan. He was, he was a starter for at least a couple of years, but I mean, post Fab Five, that Michigan team went from contenders to mediocre really fast and didn't really get back to even respectable until the last 9 or 10 years, like the Trey Burke years.
Oh yeah. Hey Jen, go up. Go up in the scroll. I'm gonna right now. This 2000 NBA draft is brought to you by the app Score or No Score, and I want to bring this little part of the app. I have a little different idea here for Score or No Score, in our own way. I'll bring up the app in just a second, but go down a little bit. Go down. Okay. Kenyon Martin, Score, No Score. Which one do you think?
Score.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Score conditionally, but like I said, just such a weak draft. I mean, I remember him at Cincinnati. He probably was the best player.
So score or no score?
Score.
Okay, score, no score. Stromae Swift.
No
score. He couldn't even crack the starting lineup on a regular basis with the god-awful Vancouver Grizzlies.
Yeah.
He was sweet on NBA Live, though.
Are we doing the whole
Miles.
30?
Oh, we can do like the top 10. Darius Miles.
Yeah,
Darius Miles, no score.
No score.
Oh, yeah.
Injuries and substance abuse. He was out of the league by the time he was 25, I think.
Marcus Pfizer, no score.
No score.
No score. Yeah, I'm Christner, no score also. I'm kind of
no score either.
Mike Miller.
Score.
Mike Miller score. I'm pretty sure Mike Miller is in like the top 10 or 15 all time in 3-pointers made.
Mm-hmm.
I could be thinking of Kyle Korver, but
they look alike.
Also on that Grizzlies team, also coming off the bench, part-time starter.
Yep. Jamar Johnson.
No score.
No score. Yeah.
No score, only because he was good and he was getting better, but injuries shortened his. Like he had a pretty bad injury after like maybe 2 years in the league, and then he rehabbed it. Like I think he took like literally a year and a half or more off of basketball because his injury was like, it was like an Alex Smith kind of injury where they didn't know if this guy was going to keep his leg, let alone play basketball. And then he tried to come back and he was just done. Where did he go to college? I forget.
Yeah. Jamal Crawford. We know that answer. 20
score
years.
Easily.
Oh, yeah. No question there. Joel Prisbilla.
I'm going to say for the number of NBA paychecks that he stole and hanging around for 13 years, I'm going to say score.
Hey, no. We need to ask Jay that someday. He went to Houston.
We do. I say no score on Prisbilla.
But it's like
I don't even remember Prisbilla in Houston. He's probably one of those ones where if you go on Basketball Reference, you know how it shows their jerseys and their jersey numbers.
Yes.
So if you go to like Jim Jackson, it's like its own page because Jim Jackson played for every team in the NBA ever and all the expansion teams.
Right. And then Keon Dooling.
No.
I'm gonna say score just based on relative lack of talent in the first. He hung around. He was never a starter, but he was a solid bench guy for probably 10 years of his 13-year career.
I'd say score
sometimes
too.
You need those. Sometimes you get drafted. Everybody that gets drafted thinks
like in a draft that was this bad.
Yeah.
If you ended up with a 10, 12-year veteran out of it, probably a score.
No, there's no question there.
I agree.
And by the way, speaking of score and no score, have you guys played it yet?
I still have not. I'm not going to lie. I apologize to you, score, no score people, if you're watching. I have not. No, that's not true. I did download the app. I haven't done anything with it yet, but it's pretty cool.
I haven't either.
It's definitely enticing. It's sports gambling for dummies because you can literally bet on anything. And it's, it's super like interactive, and, you can put a bet in for like the next possession of a football game, and you can go in and bet on, well, can't say Jacob DeGrom, can't even necessarily say Max Scherzer now.
I would say
who's a starting pitcher that's not hurt all the time. Clayton Kershaw. You can go in between innings, as far as I know. You can go in in the middle of the third inning, and you can bet on how many guys Clayton Kershaw is going to strike out that inning, or if he's going to strike out the next batter. It's really cool. It's a cool way to waste time and spend money. It's not wasting time if you're winning money.
Well, that's true. It's like, I'll tell you this. I can admit this. I had fun bombing because I remember I did it during the World Series, Houston and Atlanta, and I probably lost all but one of them. But it's kind of fun because you're getting your money, you're getting your coins. Like I said, it is sports gambling for dummies, especially when you can figure out players, you can figure out everything. And I'll tell you this, the one thing I would definitely recommend is by itself is picking it up, because guess what? It's also on Apple, and it's on Apple, and it's on Samsung. You can go to any app, Apple and Google, and you can download it. And you might even be able to download it on your whatever that BlackBerry you have is.
I have an iPhone 10, sir. It's my computer that sucks. It's my computer that sucks today, not my phone. You can take down that graphic if you want, Jen. I'm getting sick of looking at Mateen Cleaves' name. It's starting to get my blood pressure up. And I don't have
folks, the score or no score on Apple or Google.
I don't have a beverage handy, so I'm starting to get mad about Mateen Cleaves. Plus, he was speaking of Mateen Cleaves, even though I don't even want to talk about him other than to bash him. He, about 5 years ago, he had a job for the Pistons doing post game, and then he got fired for sexual harassment. So, way to go, Mateen Cleaves. You were a bum as a pro and apparently a bum as a person. Hope you're watching.
No, he didn't.
Like and subscribe, Mateen Cleaves.
Maybe we should move over to our next segment, I was thinking.
Yeah, let's do it. Player you love to hate. You go first, Will.
Oh, boy. Let's do it.
The
player I love to hate is Grayson Allen. This guy is... Yep. This guy, as we know, I will bring up all the instances why I hate this guy. February 8th, 2016. Flagrant one for tripping a Louisville player. February 25th, 2016. Closing seconds of a win, tripped an FSU player. One day later reprimanded by the ACC. December 21st, 2016. Tripped an Elon player, got a technical foul. Day after the game, Coach K suspended him from the team indefinitely and lost his captaincy. 1 game suspension. In March 9th, 2018, got a flagrant one for tripping a UNC player. Yes, a rival player. July 11th, 2019. Hear this. In an NBA Summer League game, he got ejected for back-to-back flagrant fouls. A Summer League game.
I remember that.
Not a full-on game.
Well, would you play Grayson Allen if you could?
Yes, I would. I would.
That's what I want to hear.
He'd whip you. Hey, go ahead.
January 21st, 2022.
He said, yes, I would.
Fouled a Bulls player. The reason I'm not saying the players' names are, I just want to, I feel bad because they got wronged. We know who the Bulls player was. Tyler, you do too. He was ejected. I didn't say it for the FSU guy. Okay. I don't remember who the Louisville or FSU or Elon guy was, but the Bulls player was Alex Caruso. It was a flagrant 2. Alex Caruso fractured his wrist and was out for 6 to 8 weeks. And literally they didn't know if he could have played again. And I'm pretty sure Grayson Allen didn't even apologize after that.
Is Grayson Allen the Vontaze Burfict of the NBA?
Yes.
But Vontaze could kick his ass.
That's for sure. And I'm not excusing anything that Vontaze Burfict ever did, but I mean, at least he's probably got, plausible deniability via CTE. I've never heard about Grayson Allen getting a concussion. He's just a dirt bag. Exactly. And my thing is, I'm willing to overlook a very small amount of questionably, arguably dirty plays like Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen's a douche too, but at least Bruce Bowen was a good defender. Grayson Allen's not even a good defender. He's just a dirty scum bucket.
Okay, so Dom, who's your player?
Oh, it's LeBron James.
Give us reasons.
All right.
I know it's LeBron, but
oh wow, a whole list. Just right off the top of my head. He's not an alpha. He's not a tremendously good leader. He's not clutch. I don't find him to be. I think he's a good person. overall, but I don't like what he's done to this league. He's passive aggressive. He oversteps his boundaries. If anyone out there in the Laker fan base wants to find someone to point the blame squarely at for that team being where they're at, it's GM LeBron. He was the one that wanted AD, and now AD can't stay healthy. I'm pretty sure me and everyone else, including AD, knew that. But, LeBron's got to be the smartest guy in the room. He's also typically got to be the best at everything on his team. Another reason, and this is a legitimate reason why I don't like him, he does not get along with young players, and he doesn't foster their growth. Look at the careers that all of those, there's 4 All-Stars, players that have gone on to be on the All-Star, well, at least 3 or 4. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Julius Randle. He was already gone. Who's the other one I'm thinking of? Oh, Kyle Kuzma. Not an All-Star yet, but I expect him to be in the future. I was so happy for Kyle Kuzma when he finally got away from LeBron because I thought his career was over. Flint guy. Shout out to Flint, Kyle Kuzma. I could go on a whole separate show ranting about LeBron. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think he's particularly good for the league. Like, it was Michael Jordan that helped grow this league into what it is. And I don't think LeBron has done much as far as taking the torch from him. And I wasn't a Michael Jordan fan when he was in the league. I wasn't a Kobe Bryant fan. I typically am not a fan of the so-called best player in the league. I don't think that's LeBron anymore. And I feel like if the Lakers were smart, they would just blow this thing up and trade him to somebody. But it's not going to be Cleveland. LeBron was like, I haven't closed the door on a return to Cleveland. And Cleveland was basically like, we have.
Okay, so Jacob, who
we
is
know
your
mine. We know mine.
I don't.
Yeah, right.
Oh wait, maybe I do.
Yeah.
Who is it?
First off, I'm gonna bring up what you were saying real quickly. The thing that gets me is we were talking about that LeBron wasn't a alpha. He has alpha tendencies. When he came back from 3-1, he basically did it by himself. 3-1 against the 7-3 team. He came back. He did 44-11 in the last 3 games. He had moments. He had the moments, and see, and when he gets those moments and he gets that's when the scowl matters. But to me, I can't stand the scowl because it's so fake, so boring. So he can't fight. Remember what happened with Isaiah? Not the Isaiah you're talking about, but remember what happened with him. And
I hope at some point Jen pulls up the thumbnail because the picture that James put on that of LeBron is effing priceless.
Yes. Oh no, I'm happy with those of that. Yeah, you know who mine is. It's James Harden. All right. Yeah. I said earlier this year in our very first episode that he'd be one of the greatest greatest ABA players ever. I said that.
That was actually a great point.
Yeah. I'm not denying the talent of the guy. There isn't at all. I mean, these how many? 4 scoring titles? 3 scoring titles?
At least 3.
Yeah. I mean, these 4 60-point games in his career. I mean, there's no question of the talent. He's a scoring machine. My issue with him is when you had. It's the same as when I had Jay Cutler. I despise Jay Cutler with an absolute passion. It's because when you are blessed with this kind of talent that inside of you, when you're blessed, when you can do it all, when you have that ability, and you for instance, with Harden, there's a little pit. You can see it all over. You can see it all over YouTube. The no-look steal. You know what I'm saying, Will?
Yeah.
Like the no-look steal the no-look steal by Harden. He has that skill, but yet the one reason that you think it's kind of crazy to have Simmons for Harden is because Simmons is like a top 5 lockdown guy, and Harden's not even top 200. You know, and it's like, and the thing is, he could be. That's where And see, I said it,
but he could be. But go ahead.
When I this year, there was a reason I picked, like right at the end of last year, the sideline crew heard me and they thought I was nuts. I said I think the Sixers are going to win it all after their elimination. I said this, and when I go at, you know me, Dom, you know me, Will, you see it over and over. I jam things down people's throats when I believe it. And how many times am I right when I do it?
And of his convictions, especially when you're right. I do the same thing.
Yeah, and it's like weird, and it's like I just jam it. And you know, once in a while I'm going to be wrong. I missed on Tony La Russa because I thought he would suck in the White Sox, and he got to a playoff 10 years later. You know, so I can be wrong too.
Right.
But I jam it, and it's like this isn't against Philadelphia. Again, this is not against them. I'm pissed at them because you could have gotten a Bradley Beal. You could have gotten a Bol. I mean, you could have got anybody else.
You could have got someone less talented that actually increased your chances of winning a title. Yes. That's not James Harden.
Right. Tyrese Maxey.
My friend.
You have Tyrese Maxey. Look at how Joel Embiid's doing. Look at all that. You have these. You have all of these, but yet. It looks like Jeffers bringing something up we can talk about in a second, you know? But it's like Joel Embiid. He's got all that stuff. You have these. You have Tyrese Maxey. You got some players. Anyone else. But you're picking a guy who is probably the biggest ball hog. The ball stops with him. You know, he wants to play handles, and the East is going to be tough. You need everybody.
I will say he's become a better distributor of the ball over his last few years, but he still doesn't play any defense. He still will stop you rather than help you win a title. You know, who's a good player to compare to James Harden? With the light out talent on the offensive end and never bent at the knees to play defense,
right?
Tracy McGrady.
Yeah,
we've all seen that like what 40 seconds of game film where he scored like 12 points.
Yeah.
Did any of that involve playing defense?
No.
Nope.
Go try to find a YouTube video. I dare you. Go try to find a YouTube video about Tracy McGrady's career defensive highlights. It'll be like video not found.
And it's just, those are the things that gets me so mad. It's like, I will never make a prediction like this again, because I can never tell what the team is planning on doing at any certain time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll never tell. It's like, the reason I said Philadelphia is because I expected a blockbuster hit, a Beal, somebody, even if it was a minor one, to help them over the top. James Harden, I never saw coming, and I was irritated. It's like, you can't possibly think that he is. It's like, see, the thing is, they couldn't have watched the Nets last year, and here comes KD having to play hero ball, absolute hero ball, because of 2 for 12 from 3. 5 for 17 on Game 7, which he does this all the time.
Oh, especially in the playoffs.
He does this all the time, and it causes. Okay, there's 48 points for. If you get my point, it's 48 points for KD, but he had to use every ounce of it. And it's like, and everybody, the people that are for Harden, they want to say, "Oh, it's for Kyrie Irving and he wasn't there." It doesn't matter. When you're in there, you need to be backing everything up.
And the game changes a lot in the playoffs, and the whistles get swallowed, and all of a sudden James Harden's not getting to go to the line and shoot 90% on 14 free throws.
Yeah.
So his 30 a game just became 17.
Yep. Okay, so what did Jen have for us?
Yes.
She said she never got it. A different time. What she had was a sweet thumbnail made by our boy, James Tatum, that had a really ugly picture of LeBron. It said 2000 NBA draft redo. And our third topic, which I believe we can now segue into, all-time starting fives from the tournament.
And the thing that she sent me was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that LeBron needs to be embarrassed by some of his actions. See, Kareem, before we go into that, the thing about Kareem by himself is just the fact that I think he's a very intelligent man. But it feels like when Kareem and LeBron get together, they're trying instead of being organically intelligent, they're all trying to out-intelligent each other.
And true. And because I'm done comparing LeBron to Jordan or Kobe. The one that I compare him to nowadays
He's Magic Johnson.
Is Magic. And I just heard somebody talking about this the other day. When Magic got to LA, he challenged Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was kind of stoic and a little bit aloof. And Magic Johnson got the best out of Kareem. I mean, the hook shot helps, but I don't think that's something that LeBron is capable of. I mean, I know there's certain instances where I'm wrong, but I don't think he makes his teammates better.
No, he doesn't.
Might give them some open looks here and there. And speaking of people who don't play much defense anymore, LeBron, he's willing to admit it, though, because he's still having to expend so much effort on the offensive end because Anthony Davis gets a hangnail and then he's out for 6 weeks.
Well, so Anthony Davis is Jacob DeGrom.
So I think we should segue to our next segment because we have been talking about this segment for a little while.
Yeah, like I said, I could go a whole hour. You go first, Will. Who's your all-time?
I think someone else should go first. I went first last time.
Okay, I'll go first.
You go.
Point guard from Michigan State University, Irving Magic Johnson. Shooting guard from UNLV, Isaiah, don't call me JR Ryder. Small forward from Michigan, Glenn Rice. That's 2 titles there. UNLV never won one, not even with Grandmama. Power forward, University of North Carolina, Rasheed Wallace. Center, Hakeem Olajuwon, University of Houston. I challenge any of you to assemble a better starting five. I know I went a little homer with Glenn Rice, but he did win a title. He's one of the best three-point shooters in college or pro history. And then, you've got maybe the most underrated center of all time, Hakeem Olajuwon. Isaiah Ryder, that's a personal pick. But that dude was sweet until he, bad habit and bad attituded his way out of the league. Rasheed, I don't remember him as much in college because I'm not really a UNC fan. But throughout his whole career, tell me you ever saw Rasheed Wallace get a shot blocked.
No, I don't think so.
It never happened. I mean, he was 6'11" and shooting from up here. And when he wanted to be, even late in his career, when he got mad and got one tech and kind of looked at the bench like, can I get thrown out of this game or do we need to win this game? It happened at least once in the playoffs.
Didn't he accidentally score in his own basket as a Celtic?
Rasheed? He may have.
Yeah.
Towards the end there, that was kind of like Rasheed should have retired probably a couple teams in a couple years before he did. But what I remember about Rasheed was he would get mad, then get a ticky-tacky tech like in the first quarter, and then he'd score 40 the rest of the game. But yeah, that's my squad. What about you, Jake? I'm sure you're going a little bit further back in the Wayback Machine.
No, I'm a little bit. Of Bird, at least, obviously. Bird, 30 points a game. Larry Bird for small forward. Or here's what's funny. In college, he played some center sometimes, depending on which position at that point. But I'll play small forward. Larry Bird, 30 points a game, senior year. Led an absolutely absurd Indiana State team to the final. And here's what's funny. Bill Hodges, I looked this up. Bill Hodges started his career 32 games over 500. Well, because he was 33-1. You know what I mean? Started his career 32 over 500. You know where he ended his career?
32 or more under?
500.
Oh, yeah. Hey, like Wayne Fonz.
Yeah. I mean, literally 1 year. He literally had 1 year. Everything else is nothing.
You probably know this. What division of I mean, I'm assuming it's still D1. What division is Indiana State even in?
Missouri Valley Conference. Missouri Valley Conference.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So you have that. And then what I'm going to say, center, Christian Leitner.
Oh. You would.
Yes, I would.
I'm
sorry. I mean,
not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all.
2 absolute clutch game winners in Final 4 years. UConn 1990, Kentucky 92. Yeah, let me tell you this. Everybody's complaining. There's people that do the recent, they do the hindsight. I call them hindsight nitwits. The hindsight nitwits of the fans. They'll go after, oh my God, they should have picked Shaq over Leitner. They don't realize how amazing Christian Laettner was.
Yeah, I don't know. No one on earth, probably most of all, Christian Laettner, thought that he would be so underwhelming in the pros. And he didn't have a bad. I mean, that dude was so goddamn good. He was on the dream team.
Yeah,
college. I mean, never played, but the fact that they included him. I mean, who's the coach? Chuck Daly was the coach. So apparently, Chuck Daly saw something.
Point guard.
He was a pretty good coach.
Oh, yeah, Chuck Daly's all-time great. Point guard, Urban Magic Johnson. Michigan State University. The thing about, and I'll tell you this, I kind of wish Bird and Magic would have played when, just like Lakers and Celtics, they all had this equal amount of talent.
Or in the same conference.
Yeah, and then they could have played 3 years against each other. That would have been.
Oh, they played in that final, didn't they?
Yeah,
that's right.
They played the final. I wish they would have had it when they had the equal amount because it was all Bird versus five of the. It's like there's nothing else in Indiana State. That was all him. But no, Magic basically he changed the game. And see, I always say, you heard me, greatest of all time is the one that changes the game. To me, it's not the numbers. It's changing the game. I'm always going to say Larry's the greatest small forward of all time because there's no Bron or no KD without him. Not the way that they move the ball around. Not the way everything. No Scottie Pippen. No Scottie Pippen without him. None. There's no Magic.
Yeah, I mean, I would take Bird over LeBron 11 times out of 10, and that's if I had no personal feelings about LeBron.
Yeah. No.
And I never hated Larry Bird, even though he was a rival. I hated how good he was, and he didn't play on my team. But I always had mad respect for him. So I was like, how is this dorky looking, had the same haircut and Ned Flanders mustache?
No, I was going to say, what I'm like, so who else do you have?
I had the 3. I had those 3 right there. Just to say this real quick about Magic, he's the greatest. I mean, I like John Stockton as far as scores. He's got records and steals and assists that'll never be made. But John Stockton, every guard looked like John Stockton from the 60s to the 80s. Itty bitty, small, everything like that. Magic changed the game. It's like where big men handle the ball. So he's the greatest in that level.
I would have always liked to see what Magic could have done, and I'm sure he could have succeeded. But say you don't have Hookshot and James Worthy for pretty much your whole career. How many points would Magic have averaged? Probably about what LeBron does.
Over 40. Over 40 because that 42-point game in the 80 when he.
Yeah, because it was guarding him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so next.
Okay, as far as power forward, I'm going with Grandmama, UNLV, Larry Johnson.
One of my favorites ever.
Unbelievable. It's like his size, the movement. Just the power, just the pure power that he showed. It's more for college because that power destroyed his knees.
Mm-hmm.
So it's but it was beautiful to watch when you could get to it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As far as shooting guard, I'm going to finish something up for you. Anderson Hunt, UNLV.
Ooh. Is it a coincidence that we both left off Jordan so far? We'll have to. Maybe he won't because he hates UNC.
The thing about Jordan,
I don't hate UNC.
Oh wait, no, you like UNC.
I love Mike. Don't get me wrong, but the amount of talent around him for college. See, you can put him in the all-time greats in the NBA because he had to help build the team, work it around. He was with Dean Smith and a pile of studs, the Hall of Fame studs. I can't put it on there because he.
So this is who I have. Stephan Curry. He took Davidson to the Elite Eight, and he was the most outstanding player in the Midwest region. This is before NBA Steph Curry. was born.
I was gonna say he's been pretty good in the pros too. Not bad.
Yeah, a little bit. Only take the 3-point line.
Michael Jordan, 1982, as my shooting guard, won the title and won Rookie of the Year from UNC that year. Small forward, Grant Hill, 2-time college champion. Power forward, Anthony Davis, 2012 champion. Won SEC Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Player of the Year, Most Outstanding Final Four player, and in 6 tournament games when they won the championship that year with Anthony Davis, he averaged 15.2 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 4.6 blocks. Center, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 3-time national champion, National College Player of the Year, 1967 to 69. Like those years he won the championships, and he was also the Final Four most outstanding player from 1967 to 69. So that's
I
my
always forget how
5.
completely dominant Kareem, Lou Alcindor was in college. Those UCLA teams were like, it wasn't even fair how good they were.
Stacked. They were stacked.
Oh, yeah.
They win like 50, 60 some games in a row. One thing I did want to say about Anthony Davis, though. Did Anthony Davis peak in college?
Good
You
question.
mean like growth?
No, the eyebrow. The eyebrow.
Oh, playing wise, I think he did. Personally,
Yeah,
but
I think
his
so,
first few years in the NBA were decent.
Oh, he was putting up good numbers, but those teams were bad. Now he finally got to. I mean, I didn't realize. It's the narratives don't get written usually about guys in college unless it's super obvious. But I didn't. If you would have asked me in his college career or the first couple years into his pro career if he was going to be this soft, you want to talk about a beta. I mean, at least LeBron's got some alpha tendencies. There's nothing alpha about Anthony Davis whatsoever.
No, there isn't.
Great. Okay, I've got one segment. Let's seg into one more before we go on tonight. Greatest coach any level of all time.
Oh, God.
Not Coach K. Sorry, Coach K. Not sorry, Coach K.
As much of a UNC fan I am, and I love Dean Smith, Roy Williams, I've got to say the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
I'm torn. I love Pat Summitt like crazy for Tennessee women, but I got to say John Wooden.
You're stealing my thunder there, Will.
John Wooden. Yeah, it was between John Wooden or Fog Allen or Rupp for me.
You brought up Pat Summitt. She's my greatest of all time, all levels. And
She's great.
Why. Oh yeah, I'll explain why.
No love for Phil Jackson.
And Phil's great, but he didn't.
I don't even like Phil Jackson. I was going to say maybe Red Auerbach.
That's why I said John Wooden.
Now Auerbach's fine, but it's like Auerbach's great and everything like that. But let me explain. When it's like I told you, the greatest build something to me. It's like Auerbach was around, and Bill Jackson built nothing. He had a great team, but he had great teams, and he's a great psychologist, wonderful psychologist. I think Phil's an all-time great. But Auerbach helped build an NBA, but he wasn't a catalyst. He wasn't like George Halas, for instance, who built the NFL and had paid the Packers to stick around, anything like that. It wasn't anything like that. I'm just saying at this level. He was a great coach. He built the Celtics. He built their dynasty. But when you think of a woman who in 1976 gets the job at Tennessee for $250 a month, goes broke, I mean, bounces checks left and right to help keep things around, to spend money, to do whatever they can do. Then, while they're at it, she just the same year she makes it. She gets to she becomes on the 1976 Olympic team as far as a player. So she's a player and a coach for Tennessee. She had to drive their bus. She had to She had to drive the bus. She had to do all the laundry. She had to raise all the money. She had to put all the tickets. She had to do all that kind of stuff. Every ounce of it. It was Pat Summitt. Every ounce is.
Yep.
Gino Auriemma won in later careers against her as far as head-to-head. But Gino will not say he's better than Pat Summitt.
He'll never admit it.
He'll never admit it. It's because he came in after she built something huge. And now there's about to be a WNBA with a lot of money in the next 5 years, 10 years. There's none of that without her writing and fixing the bus, driving the bus, doing the laundry, doing every bit. She built a sport. Pat Summitt built a sport. And it's like,
she did.
I'm going to get, it is whatever. Everything's a whatever with that. She built a sport. Yeah, Auerbach's up there as far as building the team, building a franchise. This is called building a sport.
Yeah,
the women's game is not there without her.
Pat Summitt's far and away the best answer. We could probably do some shout outs and wrap it up, boys. Well,
let's do it. You guys can find me on Monday nights on the NBA Carousel, Thursday nights the Sip Off, and Sunday nights here on BasketBros. Dom?
Monday nights, Megan Price's NBA Carousel. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday nights, kneecap biting with Smoking Jeremy B. That's All Thing Lions. 7 o'clock, YouTube, Facebook. 8 o'clock, you might find me on the Sip Off. You might just find me acting the fool in the comments. Saturday nights, me and my fellow horsemen. The Gauntlet. 8 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I don't know. One of those two. You know by now. It's been a long week. And, of course, here on Sundays, myself and Will and Jacob. And next Sunday, because there's no WrestleMania or Wrestling of Consequence, you will see all four of us BasketBros. Jake?
Finally. You will see me Sunday nights here, BasketBros. Monday nights, and you will see me tomorrow night, too, with Megan Price's the NBA Carousel. Wednesday night, very first show of the Pundit's Pundit.
Oh, nice.
8 o'clock. Then you will also see, and I'm also a guest at times. I mean, I'm always TBA, but I'm a guest at times on Sports Arena. And then just the depending on news.
Shout out to Sideline Sports.
And then
yes.
and then Sideline. I mean, of course, with Sideline Sports, I wouldn't be without them. And I wouldn't be here without him. And I'm also with Inscriber Magazine, published Inscriber Magazine, and a couple other areas. So I'm always staying busy, as we all are. The Sideline Sports.
And none of us would be here without our lovely producer, Jen Matthews-Lewis. Thank you so much.
We love her.
Anything else,
We love
boys?
you, Jen. We love you, Jen.
We
See
out.
y'all next week.
Take care.
She can end it.